So IBM did a really big no-no, and James O'Keefe caught it. And for those of you who don't know who James O'Keefe is, he got fired from his own company for being an actual journalist, and then that company shut down because they were all about diversity, equity, and I forget the other one, inclusion. Yeah, that one's it. DE&I, or D&I, diversity and inclusion. And that kills companies. It's killing Disney. It killed various other companies like BuzzFeed, uh, Vice comes to mind. But IBM decided that they were going to get their hands dirty with some diversity, equity, and inclusion. Let's see what that's all about. I've already watched this video, but maybe I can catch some more things and add some more conversation to it. Put myself on this side because this chick doesn't really matter. You know what? Yeah. I'm this chick now.
So we take underrepresented and gender. You got to move both forward by a percentage. That leads to a plus on your bonus. By the way, if you lose part of your bonus. I'm not trying to finesse this. So for blacks, we should try to get towards 13 point something percent. On Hispanics, you got to get into the mid-teens. So let me say it.
So they're straight up talking about this is how many people of these certain races we have to get in here. Not even looking at who's going to be the best. They're just looking at who's the best for this DE and I checklist. And we've all seen that doesn't pan out so well.
Asians in the US are not an underrepresented minority in a tech company.
Yeah, and putting the underrepresented minorities in there, you're removing the people who push humanity forward. Like, who cares what race they are, man? Like, if they're smart, they're smart. If they're the best at tech, they're the best at tech. Let them keep doing their tech thing. But, you get rid of them, they're just going to go to another thing because they're the best. And your company is just not even worrying about how to be the best anymore. You're trying to worry about who you have in your company and what their skin color is and if they're gay or not. Like, oh well. I don't even know what IBM does anyway, other than they own Red Hat, and Red Hat owns Fedora, the Linux operating system that I used to use until Red Hat started becoming scummy, or maybe they always were scummy. Let's continue on.
James O'Keefe here outside of IBM's corporate headquarters in Armonk, New York. An IBM insider has provided us with an internal video showing the CEO of IBM, Arvind Krishna, using coercion to fire people and take away their bonuses unless they discriminate in the hiring process.
Let me go deeper into Red Hat. Multiple leaders over the last year plus that were held accountable to the point that they're no longer here at Red Hat because they weren't willing to live up to the standards that we set in this space. This conversation takes place every single day, and a lot of it's behind the scenes.
They terminated executives that didn't discriminate, yet another violation of Title VII. One of the biggest companies in the world, one of the most valuable and recognizable brands on earth. IBM Insider has provided us with an internal video showing the CEO of IBM, Arvind Krishna, using coercion to fire people and take away their bonuses unless they discriminate in the hiring process, which appears to be a violation of Title
Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits racial discrimination in the employment context. It notes it shall be an unlawful employment practice for an employer, 1, to fail or refuse to hire, or 2, discharge any individual or otherwise to discriminate against any individual with respect to his compensation terms, conditions, or privileges of employment because of such individual's race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, or 2, to limit, segregate, or classify his employees or applicants for employment in any way which would deprive or tend to deprive any individual of employment opportunities or otherwise adversely affect his status as an employee because of such individual's race, color, religion, sex, etc. Yeah, that seems about like what they're doing, discriminating based on race. And as a straight white male, Christian, also, I'm very offended by this, and I would never work for this company anyway. So go ahead, do your DE&I bullshit. We'll be going somewhere else.
7. This comes on the heels of IBM pulling advertising from Elon Musk's X, with IBM saying they have zero tolerance for discrimination. Quote, IBM has zero tolerance for discrimination, and we've immediately suspended all advertising.
Who does X discriminate against? I don't think they discriminate against hardly anyone, really, other than terrorists. I mean, people on X may discriminate, but it's a free speech platform, so, like, what are you gonna do?
On X while we investigate.
So let me add a couple of things with a Red Hat flavor on it. I think Arvin laid it out pretty well, but let me go deeper in the Red Hat. And as Arvin very much pointed out, and I very much understand, I am accountable. I hold myself accountable. He holds me accountable, as does the board for all of IBM. But we also hold the leadership at Red Hat accountable for that. I mean, I'll be very candid. Without an exception,
This guy talking about all this racial equity stuff seems like he doesn't want any other white guy to take his position, and that's why he's getting rid of them. And I don't know about this Arvin guy. I think he's just a moron. He doesn't know how to run a company. And he's just buying into all the political games that's coming to an end soon. So, like, what's going to happen when all these companies have all this DE&I and then all of it crashes down? Like, somebody's going to have to take their spot because they ain't going to survive it.
For privacy, I could name multiple leaders over the last year plus that were held accountable to the point that they're no longer here at Red Hat because they weren't willing to live up to the standards that we set in this space. And so, as I said, I'm accountable to Arvin on this as well as to IBM. For example, one of the changes I made, I named a de&I lead person in Margaret reporting directly to me and the CLT. Margaret sits on the CLT as the de&I functions, and this is worked on every
What's with all
single
these
one.
Fucking acronyms, man? That's how they're trying to hide through this shit, because they put all these acronyms that nobody's gonna know the meanings of. Because what is a CLT? I don't even know what that is. I know what DE&I is because I kind of used context clues to break that down. Because if I was just watching this and just watching this with no other context, I wouldn't know what the hell DE&I was.
Of our meetings, this conversation takes place every single day, and a lot of it's behind the scenes. But let me assure you, this is happening. We're never going to cross the DEI off our list of priorities. This is an ongoing thing.
That was Paul Kernier, CEO
Ongoing.
of Red Hat, which is
So they're going to keep doing it until they fail, I guess. So my hat's off to them, pun intended.
a software company owned by IBM, saying that they terminated executives that didn't discriminate, yet another violation of Title VII.
So we take underrepresented and gender. You got to move both forward by a percentage. That leads to a plus on your bonus. By the way, if you lose part of your bonus. Paul's held to the same standards. Paul and I have been working together to say, okay, how do we apply those deeper into the organization?
So they're putting it deeper in. So everything from the top all the way to the bottom is going to be based on DEI. I'm going to switch the letters around because it's really what it is. DIE. Diversity, inclusion, and equity.
That was the head of IBM saying he's going to reduce the bonus if you don't hit your racial quotas. Arvind Krishna is using racial considerations in making the work environments diverse and doing so coercively by placing burdens on employees to do so, like the removal of bonus or termination. That's also a violation of Title VII.
I'm very clear about this. I expect at the executive level, so that is not just my directs, but all executives in the company have to move forward by 1% on both underrepresented minorities. So let me say it, Asians in the US are not an underrepresented minority in a tech company.
Bro, just having that thought in your head is racist. So you want to remove Asians. That's not exactly what he's saying in those words, but that is what they're doing. They're trying to remove people, not exactly remove them. I mean, a lot of people will be removed, but they're just not going to hire those people, those types of people anymore whenever they go to fill positions that they fired people from.
However, others are. Ditto on gender diversity.
Now, at least 13 state attorney generals have put companies on notice that they should not be using racial discrimination in the hiring process. These attorney generals include Kansas, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, Indiana, Nebraska, Iowa, South Carolina, Kentucky, West Virginia.
Bro, I live in Arkansas. Come on now. Missouri is right next to me, and Tennessee.
Mississippi, Missouri, Montana. Paul Cronier did not disclose the names of his employees that were terminated, but we at OMG welcome you, if you have been fired, to reach out to us on our tip line, contact us on our website or on Signal. We'd like to speak to you. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 states it shall be unlawful employment practice for an employer to fail or refuse to hire or discharge any individual or otherwise to discriminate any color.
I read
Rights
that
Act.
already.
The CEO of IBM, Arvind Krishna, also specifically targeting Asians in this private leak recording.
Well, let me say it. Asians in the US are not an underrepresented minority in a tech company.
This recording comes in the context of DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. Allison Showalter is on this private leaked video inside IBM talking about
That chick.
DEI.
Our last question is about diversity, equity, and inclusion. IBM highlights their progress in promoting and recruiting underrepresented minorities in executive roles and holding executives accountable for D&I goals. At Red Hat,
So we got a white woman, a white man, and an Asian saying that we gotta get rid of white people and Asian people from these companies. That's what I'm seeing here. That is what is happening.
executive representation is dismal and there is no accountability for DEI work.
Elon Musk has just come out against DEI and quotas last week. We've reached out to Elon Musk for comment, Allison for comment, Krishna for comment, and Paul for comment.
IBM Security.
Hey there, this is James O'Keefe with OMG News, looking to talk to the CEO of IBM.
Do you have an appointment?
I do not.
Does anybody know that you're coming?
Possibly. Possibly. Depends upon how much I'm surveilled, which the likelihood of that is quite high. But is there a possibility we could speak with Krishna today?
You would have to make an appointment before that.
Elon Musk joining the cause to abolish DEI, consistently critical of programs like this. IBM canceling their advertising on a list of companies that includes Disney. Now, some more context here. This video is from 2021, but we just...
I think Disney's the problem. I think that's probably who drove them to do these things. But guess what? Disney's dying now.
obtained it last week from an insider, a whistleblower inside IBM. IBM, one of the biggest companies in the world, here in Westchester, New York, at their corporate headquarters, just outside New York City. One of the most valuable and recognizable brands on earth. IBM is one of the 30 companies indexed in the Dow Jones, one of the main indicators of the health of U.S. and global stock markets. This is James O'Keefe in Westchester County, New York, reporting for OMG News.
Our last question.
All right. And if you guys want to go check out the raw leaked tape, you can go check this out. It's just pretty much everything that he was just talking about, but it lays out everything that they're doing. Highly recommend checking that out. But yeah, IBM. They're making a BM. Big mistake. Or I don't know what else BM stands for. Shit.